The player everyone thought would replace Rohit Sharma. Somewhere inside Indian cricket, a decision has already been discussed. A decision that could quietly end one of the greatest ODI careers India has ever seen. But here's the strange part. Nobody can even agree whether it's actually happened. The reports say one thing, the board says another, and somewhere between those two stories is the truth. There's a legend who refuses to let go, a head coach who's been quietly briefed, a selection chairman under pressure, and a young batter who might already have his spot without anyone officially saying so. So here's the question I want you to sit with for the rest of this video. Has Rohit Sharma already been replaced? Hold on to that. We're coming back to it. To understand why this moment feels so different, you need to understand what Rohit Sharma has already given Indian cricket. Over 11,000 ODI runs, more than 30 centuries, an average pushing toward 50, a captain who redefined how India opens the batting in white ball cricket. Under him, India reached the 2023 World Cup final, won an undefeated T20 World Cup in 2024, and lifted the Champions Trophy in 2025. This isn't a player on the fringes of the team. This is one of its architects. And it's worth remembering, this isn't even the first time his future hung in the balance. Back in May 2025, Rohit stepped away from Test cricket entirely, calm, controlled, on his own terms. At the time, he made clear he intended to keep playing ODIs. Just over a year later, on that same England tour cycle, it's the ODI half of that promise now sitting under the microscope. But this wasn't where the story actually started. Weeks before anyone talked about this publicly, something had already happened behind closed doors. Let's separate what we actually know from what's simply being reported. Confirmed, Rohit has struggled for runs in this ODI series against England. Reported claims. According to multiple outlets, the senior selection committee, head coach Gautam Gambhir, and Rohit himself sat down together before this series reached its final match. Some reports go further, claiming Rohit was told he isn't part of India's plans for the next World Cup. Official response. The BCCI's secretary has since firmly denied that any such conclusion has been reached, stating no decision has been made about Lord's being anyone's farewell. So if the board says nothing's decided, why does everyone inside Indian cricket seem convinced something already has? Reports say Rohit didn't take it quietly. He reportedly pushed back, not just on the decision, but on its timing, arriving mid-series. Then came the detail that changed everything. Rohit's own parents reportedly made the trip to London ahead of this Lord's ODI. On its own, that proves nothing. But layered on a disputed meeting and an official denial, it turned quiet speculation into a nationwide storyline within hours. And here's what made it messier. The denial itself came after the story had already spread everywhere. If there was nothing to deny, why the delay? We'll come back to that. For now, two versions of this story are being told in parallel, and both can't be fully true. Here's the promise this video made you. Time to answer it. Rohit's ODI future is uncertain for one central reason: form, which reportedly hasn't matched his 2023 or 2025 standard. Selectors reportedly want change now because the next World Cup isn't close, and team management wants a full year to build a successor before it arrives. This isn't just about one bad series, it's a rebuild. So who's the mystery replacement everyone keeps circling around? When you imagine India's next opener, who do you picture? According to multiple reports, the name most frequently linked to the role is Yashasvi Jaiswal, or Vaibhav Suryavanshi, the fearless young left-hander who's made himself hard to leave out of any format. A handful of reports have even floated teenage prodigy Vaibhav Suryavanshi as a name being discussed for the future, though far more speculatively. Others point instead to the batter already trusted at number 3, with the pedigree to slide up the order. This remains ongoing media speculation. Nothing here is confirmed, and the counter-arguments matter just as much as the headline name. Fast-tracking a new opener a year early carries risk. Form is fragile, and Rohit has been written off before and answered it with the bat before too. Fans are split. Some are ready to back the next generation. Others are furious. A two-time World Cup winning captain could be nudged out through leaked reports instead of a proper farewell. But even after naming the likely successor, one question remained. Would Rohit actually accept it? The answer didn't come from selectors, it came from inside the dressing room. Batting coach Sitanshu Kotak addressed it publicly. And at first, it sounded like a full defense of Rohit. Two low scores don't erase a career. Pitch conditions kept him from his scoring zones. Others simply found rhythm more easily. But listen carefully to what he didn't say. He defended Rohit's batting. He defended his mindset. What he never defended was Rohit's place in India's ODI plans going forward. That's not an accusation. It's an observation, and exactly why fans picked it apart the moment it went public. Former players are split too. Some believe no player should be guaranteed a seat purely on reputation. Others argue a back-to-back world champion has earned the right to choose his own exit. Even journalists covering the series can't agree on how real this transition actually is. If the reports are true, Indian cricket may already be entering a new era, one that's quietly begun before any official announcement at all. Let's zoom out. This isn't just about one player's next innings. Scenario 1, Rohit stays, silences the doubters at Lord's, and buys himself more time. Written-off legends have found their way back before. Scenario 2, Rohit leaves, not by his own announcement, but by selectors quietly moving on without him. That would mark the symbolic end of an era that reshaped Indian white ball cricket and hand his successor enormous expectation from innings 1. There's a pattern worth noticing. His Test exit in 2025 was entirely on his own terms. If his ODI career ends instead with selectors informing him he's not part of the plans, that's a completely different kind of ending, one that could shape how this whole chapter gets remembered. And there's a bigger question buried in here too. If a two-time world champion captain can be moved on from over one series, what does that signal to every other senior player in the setup? Some see it as a selection committee finally being ruthless enough to plan properly for a World Cup cycle. Others see it as a warning sign that from now on every senior player's next lean patch could turn into a referendum on their entire career. Either way, whoever eventually opens the batting for India inherits more than a position. They inherit a legacy that took over a decade to build and a fan base that will measure every single innings against it. So, has Rohit Sharma already been replaced? The truth is, nobody outside that dressing room actually knows. Some reports say yes. The board says no. Rohit hasn't confirmed anything, one way or the other. And until we see India's next ODI squad announced in black and white, the biggest question in Indian cricket right now remains unanswered. If you think this controversy is unusual, wait until you see what happened the last time India quietly moved on from one of its biggest legends. That story changed Indian cricket forever, and almost nobody saw it coming until it was already done. That's the next video. And if you want to be there for the moment this story finally gets confirmed, subscribe before it drops.
वीडियोस बनाने हैं फिल्मोरा है ना,